The long dark green coat that everyone knows well, underneath are shorts and boots the color of the big tree. Ryu, who wore a pure white battle suit on his upper body, said this while slashing at his opponent. "So, I can't sit still anymore." So she left Orario and embarked on a journey to find the goddess Astrea. To update your stagnant statistics. To get stronger. With the help and information of Hermes and Asphi, she arrived at the city made of swords. This is the place where the goddess of justice settled here 5 years ago, and it is also the place where she believes that one day she will become the power of Ryu and settle here. It is the most notable, sword-making city in the world. Therefore, the new weapon that Ryu is holding is accidental and unavoidable. The wooden sword Elvis Lumina, that was destroyed in the battle, and the Stardust sword Elvis Justice, was reborn using it as material. The elf's new sword is named after Astrea, Star Maiden of Justice. "I will win you this time, Black Demon Sword." Silent determination summoned a veritable explosion. Facing Hogni, who was confronting her in shock, Ryu launched an offensive. She threw her long blonde hair into a bun and unleashed combos. The wooden sword with a cutting range comparable to that of Hogni's longsword was equipped with the user's magic power, in addition to Ryu himself, his spiritual charge skill. In terms of pure strength ability value, Hogni's slashes should have had an advantage, but they were all countered, bringing a crackling impact to the brown hand. "Surround that elf." At this time, instructions came from the healers who were standing at the rear. It was Hythe. She quickly considered Ryu, who was now tied with Hogni, as a factor of instability, and issued an order to the warrior on her own. "Hythe, you bastard! Are you trying to interfere in our duel?" "Unfortunately, I don't care about your reservation, Mr. Hogni. Have I made a mistake? It is our mission to directly eliminate even the slightest nuisance." After distancing himself from Ryu, Hogni immediately shouted excitedly, but the other party brought out the main god he revered, so he could only grit his teeth. In addition to being a healer, Hythe is also very capable. She takes the place of the base camp, and commands with precision to completely prevent the enemy from raising smoke from the counterattack. The right wing and central army of the coalition forces had already been eliminated, so they concentrated their forces on the level 6 side, and the strong warriors in the center of the main battlefield responded quickly. The pressure on the others was relieved, but in an instant, at least 42nd level adventurers surrounded Ryu. Ryu slowly looked around the prison formed by the warriors. Arrows, long sticks, and raised swords and weapons were all aimed at her standing in the center of the siege net. A cemetery of knights where not one against one is allowed. Curse this time, this place and our destiny. As soon as the signal is given, many weapons will tear through the elf's body. Understanding the ending that will appear in a minute, Hogni's face showed regret and he untied his posture. This is the gap between the remaining forces. On one side is Lily, who has nothing, she can only watch from the side, and on the other side is Hythe, who is the strongest in the army, and she is looking at the elf's execution field with cold eyes. The remains of the clothes she set on fire were twisted into a rope by her and wrapped around her exposed chest. The healer girl extended a hand and issued an order. "Finish her, warriors." To be precise, she was about to issue an order. However, before giving instructions, Ryu said softly, "I will use it, Master Astrea." Like fragments of stars falling from the sky, a voice reached only the elf's thin ears. This is the smile of the goddess. This is the blessing of the stars. She holds the Stardust sword Elvis Justice with both hands, with the tip of the sword pointing towards the sky, standing in front like a knight. Then she closes her eyes and says the new magical name. Astrea Memoirs. Instantly, glory of the stars appeared. Magic circle. Wrong. What unfolded beneath the elf's feet was not the snout that the sorcerer was proud of, but a large number of words of light. Like the reward engraved on her back, it is the sacred letter itself that symbolizes the sword and wings of justice. The mission is accomplished, the balance will be right. The elf's lips began to weave a poem righteous as a sacred word. She is singing. It's magic. Don't let it activate. The raised arrows and cannons of the magic sword shot from all directions, but were stopped by the glory of the stars. Shocked emotions swept from the tough warriors, as well as Hogni and Hythe. With Ryu as the center, the light field spread in a radius of 5 blocked the rain of swords and bombardment of demons. The radiant crystals floating in the air and countless holy characters covered Ryu like stardust, turning them into a barrier to protect her. During the time that Hogni's eyes were wide open, the elf's chant continued to accelerate. Order is the fortress, cleanliness is the crown, evil is the lamp. She deflects all kinds of attacks, and the Song of Star chant resounding everywhere, made the restless warrior kick unbearably to the ground. They slashed upwards, using swords, spears, axes, slashing or stabbing at the group of light words. However, it still doesn't make sense. In front of them and they in astonishment, neither cutting nor stabbing could penetrate the barrier, but they were pushed back. In the name of the goddess, keep pace with the sky and let the earth be covered with star trails. He threw away the resignation and sadness now and brandished the black sword to break the protection of the stars. The intense flash fired and shook for the first time. The light flashed, pushing Hogni with all his strength. He stared into his eyes to the limit, and let out a roar. Hogni jumped over the guardian of the stars who had lost to the level 6 full cut, and took advantage of the situation to enter him, slashing horizontally at Ryu standing in the center with his sword in his hand. Justice is circulating. But Ryu was faster than him. The chant is complete. Wide eyes. When the empty pupils appeared, the wide-eyed Hogni saw fragments of stars that should have shattered. Brilliant crystallization of sacred writing. They all rushed towards Ryu and were absorbed by her. The star contract that binds one to the other. Ryu hid the right answer she had invented in her heart and called her name. Agaris Alvacinth. The stardust sword enveloped the red lotus glow, and Hogni was surprised. The sword strike he launched was also bounced back, his feet and left hand violently slashed the ground and finally stopped. The strong warriors, adventurers, and gods were speechless when they saw the crimson glow. The magic granted by the flames. How is this possible? While Hogni was shouting, people were also talking about it. Only those who knew that magic were astonished, and left aside those who did not know. Elise. Off the island. From a place far away from the battlefield, the people who saw this scene, first-level adventurers like Shakti, muttered. Before his pupils became moist and produced tears, Hogni's roar was one step ahead and roared around. Agaris Alvacinth. The magic of Elise Lovell. That was the name of the apostle of righteousness who dissipated 5 years ago. This magic was mastered by a girl who fought against evil, and it is a flame petal that left a flame mark in the memories of many people. Hogni knew this too. He still remembers. Forward in that dark period and the brightness of the girls of the Astrea family. There is also the figure that is burning intensely, especially fiercely. The maiden's flame exudes a dazzling glow that he will never have, so Hogni Ragnar secretly respects the girl and will never forget her. Why can you use this magic? Sensing Hogni's emotions, Ryu only responded with a noble flame. I have finished the journey. It's been a long journey. The other companions all fell, and she ignited the flames of revenge, and once was reduced to ashes, the end of the stagnant elf's journey. The thousands of layers of darkness brought by him were taken to the other side of the light by the boy's white watch, and finally met Ryu Leon's righteous answer, hope. So I met Master Astrea again, and inherited the will of Elise and the others. That's all. After reuniting with her goddess, she was able to bear fruit and appear. The flames attached to her hands, feet, and sword glowed as if echoing the elf's justice. I'll say it again. Give us everything, you'll win this time. She kicked the ground.